So how do you feel about black women wearing like blonde wigs and things like that, trying to be white?
You done lost your damn mind. When you get your damn mind, you call me.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a kind of a favorite video that people like because this one always gets the most views on my channel. So I'm gonna redo it because you guys always show love. So I'm really gonna be doing why do black women want to be like white women by wearing these fake hair, fake weaves, things like this. I haven't really came across anybody who's told me the truth of why you guys do this. We're gonna go and see if people will actually tell us the truth or are they just gonna cap like they always do. And I'm gonna keep doing this series until somebody actually tells me the truth. So come on, let's go. How do you feel about white women wearing box braids?
Wait a second.
Here we go.
What?
Oh, yeah.
I don't have a problem with anybody wearing whatever style they want to wear as long as you know who to give it credit to.
Give the credit to, so
Black women.
box braids come from black women.
Absolutely.
Okay, so how do you feel about black women wearing like blonde wigs and things like that, trying to be white?
I don't feel like a woman is trying to be white. I feel like, first of all, I feel like black people have culture. I feel like white people just generally do not have the culture to say that they can do different things. Everybody could do whatever they want to do, but black people, where we give the uniqueness is because we can take different things and make it into our own style. So I don't think it's about being white. I think it's about being different. Now, if a white person wants to be different, that's fine. Even if you want to take credit, say, oh, well, we're the ones who are blonde. But if you really think about it, there are black people who do have naturally blonde hair.
There is, but that's a minority. Like you
It is
can't.
a minority, but that doesn't mean that you can't take the minority and say that you can't glorify that.
But I mean, you can't really use a minority to like argue a point though.
Why not?
Because that's just like me saying all black women can sing, and you ask me like, what's your proof of that? And I say, well, look at Beyonce. Beyonce is a minority. We can't use her to fight an argument. You see what I'm saying?
No, because I don't think your analogy,
It's kind of the same thing though.
it's not.
It is.
Give me another analogy because that one doesn't make any sense to me. What I'm saying is, like, for you to say that something is like, okay, we're trying to be white, there are black people who have blonde hair. There are black people who have naturally straight hair. I'm not saying that that is the norm, but we do have that within our culture. So if we want to take that and we want to do different things with it, we can. That's not necessarily saying that we want to be white. Have you ever really come across a white person who ever thought or heard of a white person who has naturally kinky hair, or they're taking certain hairstyles like box braids and they just, like, where did it come from? That all came from Africa.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, a lot of people argue that they're like it comes from Vikings and things like that, like box braids. But I don't really know.
I have to see that argument.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you're wrong.
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard of that, but I'll definitely, check it out.
You said that. So
My God.
you said that blonde hair, blonde wigs, that's just like a part of black culture. That can be a part of black culture. But so why can't box braids be a part of white culture then?
Because I don't feel like white people have a culture.
They don't have a
I
culture.
don't feel like white people have a culture. A white, straight Caucasian person. I'm not talking about someone who's from Italy or someone from a European, because that's European. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about a person who is just strictly white. What culture do they really have?
Hi, Toya Boom here, and certified CEO. I think the difference is when black people wear our hair.
Historian, so you don't want to go back
Well,
and forth with her.
I'm just saying, like, I think the big difference is when black people wear our hair and the cornrows and the braids, it was considered tacky. To the point where we was getting jobs, they were saying it wasn't appropriate. But when the white women do it, it's considered fashion.
That's a good point.
So I think that's where the problem comes in, and that's why most black people kind of got offended by it. 'Cause, like, we've been doing this for a long time, and it was not cool, it was not professional, but when Kim Kardashian does it, it's fashion, and it's oh my God, this is so beautiful. So I think that's the problem where it comes in at. I personally don't care who wears these braids or whatever, but I think it's just the perception that when we wear it, it's looked down upon. When they wear it, it's fashion. So I think that's the bigger conversation we need to be having.
But don't you think it's a waste of money?
What, braids?
Like any type of fake hair in your head, like it's just a waste of money.
No, because I think as a woman you want to, like me right now, I have very long hair. I want to preserve my hair, and it's too hot to wear my natural hair out right now. So putting in extensions helps me to preserve my hair. So when September, October come, I'm going to have my real hair out. So I think it's just a part of the process, and depending on what your hair texture is, what you need to do to preserve your hair. So I don't think it's a waste of money. I just think it's what we have to do.
Because there's a difference between the aesthetically pleasing part
Yeah.
of it and you actually trying to do something healthy for your hair. Because these are known as protective hairstyles. We're doing it because we're trying to protect our hair. But at the same time, if you want to slap on a wig or slap on whatever, that's fine because you want something different.
But how come black men don't have to wear weave or anything like that to preserve their hair?
Actually, black men are wearing weave. I've seen a
The
couple.
the fruity ones.
They're wearing the units. You might have a unit on. We don't know.
We don't know.
Them
But
units looking real good. You
It's
look.
not
You
coming
can
out.
put the
We're hating
units
on
get
it right
good.
now,
Yeah.
but 5 years from now, I bet you that's gonna be the thing. Because look at LeBron. Look at that hairline, how it went forward. Like
I don't think anybody should do it. Like personally, yeah, because like if a man puts weave in his head, y'all gonna think he's gay. Like
no, we're gonna think that you have an insecurity about that and you want to change it, just like how women want to change their hair, they want to change their bodies. I feel like men should have that same right, but sometimes it goes a little overboard. But I think that's for women as well. Some people need to know the limit.
But I think you should want to be yourself. Like if you're going bald, just shave it off. Like just be happy with who you were born to be.
That I do agree with that, but at the same time, if you have the means to make yourself look how you want to make yourself look, what looks good to you, you should be able to do that. That is why everybody gets up every day and works, because they want to have the means to do whatever they want to do.
But I mean, yeah, if you have the money to. But I mean, a lot of these black men are out here struggling on bills. You know, they can't even pay. They are though.
In DC, in Maryland,
Everywhere.
this area.
As a
All my
race.
black male friends are doing excellent.
Yeah.
So I
Excellent.
think we might need to look at the
We need to
standard
stop that
and look at the
stereotype.
ratios, because that's just like, I know years ago people were saying that, black men were not good fathers, but when you actually look at the numbers, there were way more black men that were statistically in the children's lives. I think that we have to stop stereotyping stuff, because I don't know if that's a fact of what you just said.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, because I mean, if you ask anybody like, what's their number one problem? I actually did this interview, and everybody said money.
Well, I don't think that's because I would say money, but I'm financially well off. But I would still say money, because that's just like what you need to survive. I'm gonna always think money. It doesn't mean it's like the biggest problem, but just because I have money don't mean I don't want more money. So I think we have to look at that and be careful with that, because we can't be out here saying that black men are struggling, because I know so many black men, I mean a lot of black men, they're doing well. I mean, I have millionaire black guy friends, millionaires. Swear to God, I call one right now.
I understand that you have asked a lot of people, but how many people have you asked? How many different areas did you go to?
Well, you have
can't
to
just
survey
kind
hundreds of people.
yeah.
You can't-
It was
More
hundreds,
than, more
yeah.
than hundreds
You have
of
to survey
people.
people.
When you do this comparison, are your numbers are representative of like the United States or the
Yeah, so,
representative of
Like
the
this
world?
area, Virginia.
Because if you say black men don't just pertain to Maryland or to DC or
Right.
to wherever, to New York. You really have to put your numbers in play for you to really make that type of statement.
But I mean, economically, we are on the bottom. Like that's
But
a
are you
fact.
saying that from a statistical fact?
It
and
is.
If it is a statistical fact, where's your evidence at?
I mean, we can.
That financially black men are struggling. I told him I don't know if that's true.
Fake hair, and then we got here. I don't.
Because it all ties in.
I won't say that they're not struggling, but statistically, black women are at the bottom of the societal totem pole from a professional standpoint and everything. When it comes to the wage gap and everything else, it comes white men, white women, black men, and then black women. So it depends on what we're talking about. When you talk about the wage gap, when you talk about professional growth and development, black men have a little bit of a higher, their barrier for entry is a little bit, I will say, because of diversity and inclusion. Yes, black women are accelerating a little bit faster than black men are, but I think everybody's struggling. But if we talk in numbers, I think as a researcher, we need to figure out in what way. Are we talking about struggling to advance professionally? Are we talking about salary-wise? Are we talking about credit-wise? They're unable to buy housing. Like, there's a whole lot of list of criteria when we're trying to figure out what we mean with struggling. So I'll put it to you. When you say struggling, what do you mean? Emotionally? Now, if you're talking about emotionally, yes.
I mean, I'm 23.
Okay, so given that you're 23, I would say that you don't have everything put together, right? If I was to say, oh, well, a 23-year-old, he don't have nothing going on for himself, that would be a lie. Because I know 23-year-olds who are actually, like, doing a lot.
Working with 23 years.
You know-
But is that the majority? Or wait, what did she say? I didn't even hear
She
that.
didn't say anything. She didn't say anything.
Okay.
No, what I'm saying is that's not the majority. But if somebody said, oh, the majority of these young people, they're not doing this, they're not doing that, that wouldn't really be true. Or, I mean, what I'm saying is it depends on who's asking the question and how many people you're gathering to get this type of information.
I'm just saying, like, compared to like white people, we can all. Okay, one sec. We can all agree that white people are at the top and black people are under.
Why?
Why?
Because economically, they own everything, all these businesses.
No.
You shouldn't have started that.
White people
Yeah.
are not just at the top because they're better people. White people historically are at the top because of things they have done to step on other people while they climbed over their back to get up front. And they have a 400-year head start of us no matter what. For instance, my white friend, when she went to go buy her house, her parents was able to give her $30,000 for a down payment, whereas I didn't have that help. So right there, we both went to the same school, both had the same advantages, but further in life, she was more financially advantaged than I was just because she was ahead of me financially. So we have to look at that. We can't say white people are ahead because they're better. They are ahead because they forced themselves to be ahead of black people. And that's something that we, and they learn, they have generational wealth, like they know all of these things that we're just now starting to talk about. Really, since COVID, I've seen more black people talk about money and finances and entrepreneurship than ever in any time probably in the history that I've been alive. I'm only 38 years old, but I think we can't say that they're better than us. They have done things to put themselves in a better position than us.
That's why hair ties back in, because as the black community, we spend all our money on small things that add up, like weed, fake hair, video games, shoes.
One, our dollar leaves faster. We have the highest spend rate, which is why everything is targeted to us. So like you'll start to see advertising campaigns and things like that. Like literally things are targeted and marketed to black people because we set the trends. If black people say something is cool, people are going to buy it. So they market it to us. It's a shiny coin. Dangle it in front of us for too long. We're gonna
hairstyles. It brings it back. Thank you. I have to disagree with my friends here. I believe that statistically black men are on the lower end, right? But I think we're looking at it from our lens. We are educated women who went to college with educated men and who are doing well. So we're looking at it from that lens. But when we look at it as a holistic point of view, yes, our black men are struggling, right? And as was said before, it's not just financially, it's so many different factors that play into it that we have to consider. Doesn't mean that white people are better than our black men, absolutely not. But it does mean that we have to expose our black men to more resources, more education. As Latoya mentioned, white people have the advantage of preparing their children with, providing them with down payments for their homes, providing them with life insurance policies, teaching them about 401ks and such, and we're just learning that. Yeah. And when I say we are a part of a small bunch too, because we're speaking for ourselves, these educated black women, but there's still a lot of educated black men and women who aren't familiar with these terms. So I do think we're looking at it from our lens opposed to a holistic lens.
No, I agree, but I think for me, I was clarifying that he made it like all black men weren't doing good. I was telling him that it's not an all. I mean, overall, as a race, we do need to do better. But we also have to look at the barriers. Like, I think sometimes, like, I've had calls with white people and they'd be like, oh, you guys just don't try. I'm like, that's not true. Like, it's many barriers. You have to be taught and you have to be in a position to be able to do stuff, because even me as a business owner, the things that I've went through trying to open a business versus someone white with the same exact business is so different. Like, I had to fight to get open. I had to fight to stay open, whereas I seen them walk into downtown and get their license just like that. So, those type of things we have to look at as well. Like, you have people out here who are fighting, who are struggling to do right, but we have barriers. We can't just act like the barriers don't exist. Racism is real. Racism is a taught behavior. Racism exists. We can't keep saying it doesn't, because it does exist. And it plays a big part on financial literacy.
Everything you said is true, but we just can't let that keep us down as a people. Like we sit there and we'll play video games and be on TikTok all day, but then we start complaining about what the white people do. Like, why don't we get up and start making moves?
But once again, that's something. There are white people that do that as well. However, again, they have those parents who teach them, who provide, who educate them, so their situation looks different from our black men who's in there playing the videos and watching TikToks all day.
These TikToks and these videos, these people get paid.
They do.
So I feel like we have turned a certain situation and made it a lucrative business. I do agree that you will see black people, but like I said, I do believe it's all races, will complain about certain things. But like you said, when COVID hit, that allowed people to get a mental reset. And based off that mental reset, we said to ourselves, okay, we can do something different, especially when it came to people losing their jobs. Now they were like, well, what can I do to make money? And why do I have to feel like I need this person to provide me with a paycheck? I'm gonna go out there and get it. It's sad that it took a pandemic for the majority to see that we could live a different type of way, but
But
we
I'm glad
still are
it happened
trying.
because I
You know what I
came
mean?
up.
We still are trying. And I'm only saying this, we're stressing this because sometimes in your statements you're saying that, like, you know, well, black people, I don't want it to be like a stereotypical thing, because even though we might see the downside of it, especially coming from me, like, I grew up in the hood, so I understand what people are saying, but there are people who are really trying to make a difference and make
I think
themselves
that's
look
what we're all
good.
saying.
Like,
I
like
feel
that's
we're
her
all
daughter.
saying that.
We were walking the block talking about college.
Oh,
That's
bro.
her son. Like, we have plans for them. We're a community. Those are my godchildren. We're going to make sure that they know everything. She just bought a house. She taught her daughter every single process. So when she's ready to buy a house, she's probably going to buy a house way before we did.
And
So
I want to be able to be the mother that gives her
Yes,
the down payment, right?
exactly.
Because I'm educated and I want her to be able to do it without the stress that I went through, because it was stressful. So we have to, breaking generational cycles, educating. That's the key for our people.
Okay. I mean, I think we left everything off on a good note. I do agree with like everything you were just saying.
don't let me get canceled out here.
No,
okay?
no, you're not gonna get
That's up to them. I can't really.
But last thing, like, in addition to what we're all saying, education, but also I think as a people, we need to stick together and fight back. When we're going to try to do something and we're getting kicked back and we know specifically it's because of our race or our gender, we need to stick together, because when you go somewhere and somebody does you wrong as one person, it's so easy to turn your way. But when if I come back and I got 100 people with me going to City Hall, they're going to say, okay, let's let her go. Like, we got to learn to stick together. We got to learn to fight back. And we have to stop being so forgiving. I can't stand when I see on the news, I hate to say it, somebody done killed somebody and the mother's like, oh, I forgive you. I get that, but that don't need to be said publicly, because when white people know they could kill you and you can just say, I'm gonna forgive, look, I'm gonna tell you something. Go kill a white person, see they're gonna go in court and say, I forgive you. They're not going to do that. Like, we have to stop being so forgiving. We have to learn to fight back. We have to learn to stand our ground and stand tall. We have to learn to be together, because that makes a big difference. All of that sensitivity stuff, I'm a Christian, I know what the Bible say, but the Bible also say it's okay to do some other stuff, okay? So we got to stop all that. White people think, oh, I can do whatever I want to do to them, and they just going to turn to that Bible and they're going to be forgiving. No, stop doing that.
Alabama.
Stop doing that. Fight back. When white people came over here and they wanted this land, they fought for this land. They fought to build this country. I'm serious. So we got to learn to fight. I have to learn to fight back. I'm not talking about violently, but fight back in smart ways, smart protests.
Black women and black men are stronger together, sharing the information. It shouldn't take another generation of people to learn what investing is, how to invest, what kinds of things you should invest in, what are the tools. And I had a black friend who told me her white friend's dad was just like, I'm gonna put a $5,000 in a Vanguard account for you. She was just like, for what? And that was her down payment over the years, with the interest accruing over 15 years, and that was her childhood best friend. And she was just like, for me it was a down payment, but imagine what he put in his daughter's account. For her, it was more than a down payment. It was the cost of a house. And she was just like, I knew nothing about it if it wasn't for my white friend's dad doing it for me and just seeing, oh, you're good, you're BFFs with my daughter, I'm gonna help you out. So then she told me about, okay, Vanguard accounts, or, they have Marcus accounts, which are, the savings accounts that accrue interest, like all of those things. Share it. If you got, people who are looking to, even if people who are not, you never know what can spark something in someone if you educate them, right? So you can't say people aren't interested in what they don't know about. So stop gatekeeping. One person got information, we all win.
Sharing the knowledge, passing on the knowledge, and just being willing to hear what people have to say, and not being jealous.
Yeah.
Right.
It's enough money for everybody. It's enough money for everybody.
I can't disagree with them. I guess we're going to have to come to a disagreement on the hair part of things, but everything else, they were speaking facts. So I really do appreciate you guys. You guys have a great day.